Hello everyone, welcome to e-learning. So we're still focusing on geometry and it's the term 3 for grade 7s. So our topic today is on angles and I'm going to teach you how to calculate angles without using a protractor. So let's get cracking, okay? Right, so let's see. We have our straight line and from our straight line, we're going to form an angle. So now there's two angles on the straight line. We have an acute angle on the right hand side and we have an obtuse angle on the right hand side. So we want to calculate the obtuse angle, and we're going to say our acute angle is 45 degrees because it's less than 90 degrees. And we want to calculate A, and A is our obtuse angle. So what do we do here? Let me think. Okay, now we know that the start of the straight line is 0 degrees and the end of the straight line is 180 degrees and we're given 45 degrees. So it's pretty simple now. We just do basic mathematics, subtraction, and we say 180 degrees minus 45 degrees is equal to angle A. And then when we calculate it, we say 180 minus 45 is equal to 135 degrees, right? So obviously now our obtuse angle, which is angle A, is 135 degrees. Now let's look at something else. If we have a straight line and our lines meet perpendicular to each other and our right hand side is 90 degrees, so they want to know what is angle B. Now you know that if one side is 90 degrees, then obviously on a straight line, and if two lines are perpendicular to each other, then the other side is also 90 degrees, so B is 90 degrees. But we must also get used to things not looking vertically and horizontally. It can also be this way as well, where we have one side is 90 degrees, and then the other side is 90 degrees as well. So we say when the lines are perpendicular to each other, they are at 90 degrees. Okay, so now let's look at something else. If we have, we're going to focus on the line on the left. Okay, now here we drew another line and here we have an obtuse angle and we want to calculate the acute angle. So we're doing it the opposite way around. Now we know our obtuse angle is 167 degrees and we want to calculate angle C, which is an acute angle. So we started at 0 degrees, we moved to 180 degrees and we want to calculate the balance. And we know the whole straight line is 180 degrees. So we say angle C is 180 degrees minus 167 degrees, which is going to give us 13 degrees. Doesn't look like 13 degrees, but let's just assume it's 13 degrees. Okay, right. So now we say angle C is 13 degrees. Now let's look at this line. Now this is a reflex angle. Now we want to calculate angle D. And we know that the inside of the reflex angle is 110 degrees. So we want to know what is angle D. So we're going to say now this time we can't use 180 degrees because it's going over 180 degrees. So we're going to say we're going to use a revolution. So we're going to say we started at 0 and that is 180 degrees. So we cannot use 180 degrees. So we're going to say D is equal to 360 degrees minus 110 degrees, which is 250 degrees. So this angle D here is 250 degrees. So 250 degrees plus this 110 gives you 360 degrees, which is our revolution. Now let's look at this. We're looking at our triangle. Our one side is 60 degrees, the other side is 60 degrees. Now they want you to calculate angle M. So what do you need to know? The first thing that you need to know is the properties of a triangle. Now, the properties of a triangle is the sum of all the angles of a triangle are equal to 180 degrees. So it's very simple now. All you have to do is you say 180 degrees plus the 60 degrees on the top and the 60 degrees at the bottom. which gives you 120 degrees, and then 180 degrees minus 120 is equal to 60 degrees. So we say angle M is 60 degrees. But now they want to complicate your life further and say, no, now that you know what angle M is, please calculate angle N. But before we go there, we say all angles that are equal in one triangle is called an equilateral triangle. Okay, so now let's look at angle N. What we need to know is that the properties of a straight line. Now, even though that it's a triangle is jutting out, we know part of it is a straight line. So we say angle N is equal to 180 minus 60. So angle N is 120 degrees, and it is an obtuse angle. Okay, so the next slide, I'm not going to give you the answer. I'm just going to give you the basics, and I'd like you to try to calculate it. Okay, so here's a rectangle, and you know that the corner of a rectangle is 90 degrees. You can either represent it as 90 degrees or you can represent it as a square. So the three sides are 90 degrees, and they want you to calculate angle X. So what you know that the sum of all the angles of a rectangle is equal to 360 degrees. So it's very easy now for you to calculate angle X. Okay, but I'm going to leave that for you to do. And now after that, they said, why don't you also calculate angle Y while you're at it? And they can say solve for Y. So you think about the properties of a straight line. You know what X is. Think about what Y would the straight line is, and you can work out X. Okay, don't forget to like and subscribe. I hope you enjoyed this video and learned a lot. Play it back if you like, pause it, learn it, and understand. Right, have a lovely day. Bye, everyone.